All right, so for this lesson 13 class review sheet, we'll look at the dividing and labeling. We'll start at the right-hand side here. And what I've done is I've gone ahead and divided these for you as you were working on that. So your division should be like this, la, hem. Okay, where's the tone? On the last. So this one's pretonic. The last one is closed, and the first one is open. Good. And then last question here is, what kind of a comment symbol is that? Okay, how do we know that? It's not a cuss syllable. That's right. If it's not a cuss syllable, it's always a long A. Good, good. So lachem, everybody, lachem. Over here, we have, is the first syllable open or closed? Open and accented or tonic. Next one is open and post-tonic. Good. And then what kind of symbol is this here? That's a comment. Why? It's not a cuss syllable. Excellent. So this is pronounced how? Lanu. Lanu. Good. All right. And then over here, I've got the cough has what kind of a dot here? That's a dagesh forte. How do I know that? Because cough is a begadkefat letter. That's right. There's a vowel before and the dot's still here. It must be strong, right? It's a dagesh forte. Good. And if it's a dagesh forte, what can I always write in the syllable to the right of it? Closed. C for closed. And then this next syllable, is that open or closed? Closed. And the final syllable is closed. And where's the tone? On the last. This one is pretonic. This one is proprotonic. Good. Shouldn't this proprotonic syllable reduce to a vocal shiva?
Yes, but if it was open.
If it were open, it would. That's right, but this is closed, so you don't reduce those to vocal shiva. Good. I was trying to trick you, so you passed the test. All right, and then this symbol here, is that a kametz or a kametz ketuf under the kaf? How do you know that's a kametz ketuf? Because it is a cuss syllable. Cuss, closed unaccented, pretonic is unaccented. All right, so how are we going to pronounce this? Mikol ra. Mikol ra. What does that mean? From all evil. Psalm 121. The Lord will keep you from all evil. And that's the expression that's used. Mikol ra. All right, good. Now, for the lesson, what we're doing is we're working on attaching the pronominal suffixes to the preposition lamed. Now, the preposition lamed and the preposition beit are going to, as you know, they're prepositions. So all prepositions occur with objects of the preposition. To David, right? For Solomon. In Edom. All of those are prepositions using an object of the preposition. But how would I say, instead of to David, to him? To him. I can't say le who with the independent personal pronoun. Okay? The independent personal pronoun is always independent, meaning it's not attached to things. Okay? So in order to say to him, I can't say le who. I have to use a form of him that can be attached to pronoun suffixes. And as we learned in the lesson overview, the holem vav is attached to the lamed for to him. Okay? So when you're translating this, the lamed bears the to part and the o bears the him part in your translation. Okay? And so if it were in him, the bet would take what for its pronoun? Take the bait, and what would be the pronoun for him? Same thing. So bo. So lo and bo. Okay? In him, to him. Bo knows. That's right. So here we're just going to be practicing how to say this. So how would we say to him or it if the it is masculine singular in Hebrew? So go ahead and write it down and then check and see if you got it right, okay? So we're just going to be practicing these things here. to him. So is that what you got? Lo?
So this is the same preposition, la.
Exactly.
2 or 4.
Yep.
We're just taking out the shava.
Yep. Yep.
Replacing it with a vowel.
Exactly. Yes. Well, since we're putting a vowel here, the shava goes away. That's right. So lo. 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 Okay. Now in him or in it would be what? Bo. Very good. Bo. Those two were easy because we just did them. What about to her or to it as a feminine singular it? And you want to make sure you spell that correctly. La with a mapik. So what does that tell you about the hey there? It is a real consonant hey.
Is the pronunciation basically the same?
You should pronounce the hey, but of course in fast speech, people won't take the time to do it. Okay, so in her or in it would be? Yeah. Ba. There you go. So it should look like that. Now, to you, masculine singular, the 2ms pronoun. Yeah, it's a lecha. Lecha. What kind of shava is that on the lamed? It's vocal because it's at the beginning of the word. Lecha. Lecha. To you. So what would be the way to spell in you in Hebrew? Becha. Becha. That's right. Becha. In you. There is anger in you, young Skywalker. Becha. Okay, to you, woman. Okay, so tell me about the shava and lach. That is a silent shava. Silent because it's at the end of the word. All right. So you see the difference between lach and lecha, right? Both of them have the same vowel pointings, but in the reverse order. And because of where that shava is, one's vocal, one's silent. But they are the same points. Just switch them. Lecha, lach. Okay? So in you, woman, would be what? Bach. That's right. Bach. Johann Sebastian Bach. That's right. By the way, we used lecha and lach when we first learned about how to tell if shavas were silent or vocal. Way back a long time ago. You didn't know what those meant, but now you do. So Bach is in you, woman. And then to me is what? Li. Very good. Kirik Yod. Li. Li. And so in me would be? would be? Yes, B. B. Li and B. To me and me. Li B. Now, do you notice some similarities with the independent personal pronouns? How do I say I in Hebrew? The independent personal pronoun I. Ani with the kirik yod. Li, bi, ani. And anochi also have a kirik yod at the end for I. For you, man, it's not ka, but ata, but it still has a kamet at the end. And so here's the thing to remember. When the pronoun you is functioning as a subject, it has the tav. At, ata, right? When it's an object of the preposition or a direct object pronoun, which we're going to learn, the tav will change to a kaf, but the vowel pointing will be the same. So ata, with the tav for you as a subject, b'cha and lecha for you as the object, at with a silent shiva for you, woman, as the subject, and lach and bach with a silent shiva, but with a kaf instead of the tav. All right? And we're going to see that same tav, kaf interchange when we get to the plural side of you. Alrighty, so how would we say to them and that's 3MP them? Okay, good. So la hem. Excellent. Hem, la hem. And so in them would be what? That's right. Bahem. And then what was our other form? Swallow the hay. Syncopation. Bam. Yep, bam. So bahem and bam. So lahem, to them, bahem, bam, in them. Now to say to them as a third feminine plural pronoun, what's the only difference between that and lahem? The noon. That's right, the noon versus the mem. So la hen. That's right. Female chickens are hens. That helps. So la hen. Sounds like the name of a good chicken food restaurant, right? La hen. La Madeleine and la hen. Okay. And then in them women is bahen, or the syncopated form ban. Right? Ban. I'm being a little bit careless in my writing. So ban. So bahan and ban. Alrighty. So what about to you men? La chem. Lachem. These are heavy endings, so the stress is going to be on the back side there, lachem. And then you would be bachem. Bachem. So lachem, bachem. To you, in you, men. So remember, the way to say y'all as a independent personal pronoun is tem, right? You see the tem when it's the subject, objects, chem, tem, chem, tav, kaf, okay? And then to you women would be la, chen, that's right. Just like you as a subject, women, would be ten. Ten versus ken.
But listening to you will be very difficult to differentiate, right? Lachem, I'm talking about between to them and to you.
Yes, lahem versus lachen, or lachem and lachen. Yes. It will be hard to hear it, but of course, you're reading Hebrew, so it shouldn't be too hard to see it. And then in you would be in you women, ba chen. That's right. Ba chen. And then to us, that's right. And where's that accent going to be? It's on that first syllable. Okay? So lanu. And then in us would be, that's right, banu. Same thing, accent on that first syllable. All right, so let's talk about the stress here. Just review that real quickly. How many syllables do I have on the singular pronoun side on the left? All of the pronouns are singular on the left. How many syllables do I have? In every one, there is only one syllable. So which syllable am I going to stress? The only syllable. The one syllable, right? So will I ever have to put an accent mark on the left side? No. Now, how many syllables are in the forms on the right side with the plural pronouns? Every one of them has 2 syllables except for the bom and bon, right? So in all of them, the ending is heavy except for which one? The last 2. Okay? Hem and hen, kem and ken are all consonant, vowel, consonant. Three parts, right? And so they are heavy. And so where's the stress going to be out of those 2 syllables? If it's heavy, heavy pulls the stress to the end. Okay? And so the last 2, lanu and banu, nu is not a heavy ending. It's a light consonantal ending. And so I'm going to leave the stress on the first syllable. Okay? So heavies, stress on the end. Non-heavy, stress on the front. Lanu, banu. Otherwise, lahem, bahem, lahen, bahen, and so forth. Okay? Make sense? All right. Let's go on now. And what we did in the other part of the lesson was we learned how to say in Hebrew, there is or there are something, and also how to say things like someone has something. And we're actually going to be using similar strategies. What are the 2 words we learned for saying there is and there are not something? How would I say there is something?
There are not is like ain.
That's right. Okay, so ain with the yod in the middle is there isn't anything. And what's the word for there is or there are? It's yesh. Okay, yesh. So there is. Okay, so is not. And here's what we also learned. Whatever there is could be singular or plural. We still use yesh and ain no matter what. So this is a lot like in Spanish. If you know the word I, there is or there are. I, un taco, right? There's one taco. Hay muchos tacos. There are many tacos. I use I either way. Okay? And if I want to say there are no tacos, no hay tacos. And if I say there's not one taco, it's no hay un taco, right? So I use I, no I either way. I use ain the same way. So ain tacos and ain taco. Yesh taco and yesh tacos. So the singular or plural nature of what there is or aren't doesn't change the form of yesh and ain. All right? And if I want to say someone, so some person X has something, I just add the lamed preposition plus whoever has things to say that. So yesh le David something, right? And that means David has something. Literally, there is to David something, right? And that means David has whatever that thing is. So let's walk through and just practice how to do this. So David has a horse. What do I want to say here? If David does have something, what do I use? Ain or yesh? Yesh. That's a yah. Yesh. Okay, so let's write that down. Yesh. And by the way, if I had a makaf here, what would happen to the sere? If I had a makaf, it'd have to shorten to a short I class, right? And that would go to segol. So just want you to be aware. You could spell it either way. That's just a matter of whether it's accented or not, okay? And the makaf always causes that first word to lose its accent. But here I'm going to leave the makaf off. So yesh, and then I want to add what preposition? Le, and then Dawid or David. So yesh le David now. So it means literally there is to David. And that means David has. There is to David means David has. And the dalet of David usually has a dagesh lene. What's going to happen with that vocal shiva right before it? Le has a vocal shiva. It blows away the dagesh lene, right? So vowels and vocal shivas always kick out a dagesh lene. And then what does David have? Sus. Now, should the horse be articular or anarthrous here? Anarthrous. There's no article. So yesh LeDavid sus. There is to David a horse. That is, David has a horse. All right. Now, how would I say, instead of David has a horse, he has a horse? Yesh. Yesh. And then lo. Exactly. So I don't want the vocal shiva. I just want the whole vav. Yesh lo. Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't you just do who?
Well, you, remember.
Ish, who,
Because yesh here does not literally mean has. It's not a verb. So I can't say who yesh. Yesh is basically a particle that predicates the existence of something. And so we want to translate this as, if we were translating it as a predicator of existence, there is or there are to him something.
So that's why the preposition lu indicates that
It's possession.
it's possession.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's
this
why I
is
said why you can put who or he. That's
right.
why I confused.
Exactly. Yeah, the lam is indicating possession here. So he has, or there is to him, and then a horse. Sus. Mm-hmm. So yesh lo sus. Everybody say that with me. Yesh lo sus. All right. Good. Now, I want to say next, I have a horse. So how would I say that? Yesh. And then I would be li. Good. To me. Yesh li. Sus. Yesh li sus. Yeah, it sort of does, huh? Yesh li sus. And then we have horses? What would that be? Yesh. Good. Where's the accent on that? Lanu. Yep. Lanu. Yesh lanu. Horses? Good. It's plural now, right? Susim. Say that with me. Yesh lanu susim. All right, so we have horses. Now, David does not have a wife. What am I going to say for not have or not? Ain. Ain. So you need to use ain. There is not. And then I indicate the possessor. Ain le Dawid. Good. There is not to David. David has not. And then what does he have not? A wife? Isha. Good. So everybody, Ain le Dawid or David, Isha. There is not to David a wife. David has no wife. Okay. You, masculine singular, do not have a wife. So how would I say that? Not have is going to use ain, right? And then you is a masculine singular you. That's right. Lecha. Ain lecha. There's not to you. There's not to you what? Isha. Ain lecha isha. There is not to you a wife means you do not have a wife. So whenever you're translating, like if we're going from Hebrew into English, I'd really like you to use the possessive sort of translation. Somebody has something or somebody doesn't have something. All right, if there's that possessive lamed being used. If I just say yesh susim, then that's not possession. That's just saying, hey, there are horses. Okay, and then you can say there are. All right, so you woman, singular, you feminine singular, do not have a husband. So what's my first word? Ain. And then to you. What's that? And it's a you woman, singular. Ein lach. Ein lach. And then husband? Ish. Good. Ein lach ish. Ein lach ish. All right. And then finally, they have no house. They have no house. Or they don't have a house. Either way. Ein. Okay. La. Is it hen or hem? We don't know. We haven't specified, right? Let's do masculine plural. Lahem. Ein lahem. And then what? Bayit. They have no bayit because they didn't buy it. Ein lahem bayit. Okay, good.
Would we be able to, with what we know, instead say they are not in a house with using the preposition but instead?
Yeah, how would we say they are not in a house? They would be heim, right? They, masculine plural, heim, and then are not. Is that right?
Why would we put that first though, they?
Because this is a verbless clause. There's no copula, so we usually put the subject pronoun first. Heim, lo, right? And then ba, bayit.
Right. So that's where I get confused. So then you put the him, like he has, so you cannot put who, esh, right? Like he has a horse, you cannot put who, esh.
Right, you can't say that. Yeah.
You can say hem lo.
You can say heim, lo, because there is an implied copula here, right? So they are not in the house.
So it's just kind of like the copula, but not really.
Right, yeah, so it's not a verb. So yesh and ein can function as copulas in certain situations, and we'll talk about those when we get there, but this isn't one of those.
It's like they have something to. It's either not having or having. That's kind of the idea.
Yeah, right. Whenever you have yesh and ein with lamed, it's having or not having. Yesh and ein without a lamed, existing or not existing. There is or there are. So there are tacos in this place. I would say yesh tacos. Po, right? There are tacos here.
Can you say in Hebrew to be or not to be?
Ah, that's a good question. Yeah. Well, so there is a verb to be, haya, but it's used in particular forms. So like you will see it in the infinitive form. We'll have an infinitive for that. And so I could say hayot. It's bilti hayot. Yeah. So in order to negate an infinitive construct, you can't use lo. You have to use a different negator. All right. Last thing here, and again, this is based on our lesson. There are actually two things in the rest of the lesson that we learned. One had to do with the verb matzah. What does matzah mean? To find, okay? And the reason matzah is given as a separate paradigm is because in root 3 we have an aleph. And what we've learned, especially from the recent World Series, is that the Houston Astros have lousy closers. Okay, so the normal pointing for the cow perfect, going back to pakad, is long A, short A, right? So matzah's pointing should have been long A, short A, like this, matzah. Pakad, matzah. What does the aleph do when it's trying to close a syllable? Aleph likes to quiesce. And when it quiesces, it loses all consonantal value and its vowel pointing, and it's not pronounced anymore. So when the aleph, at least phonetically, disappears, it's still written, but you don't pronounce it anymore, the short pathak compensatorily lengthens to make up for the loss of the aleph as a sound. And so everywhere I would have had a pathak, I'm going to get a kametz throughout the paradigm in Hebrew. So I would have said pakad ta, for example, right? Pakad ta, like this. What would this have become? It would have normally been matzah ta, like that, but the aleph quiesces and loses its vowel pointing, right? And the pathak lengthens to compensate for it. And then because this aleph is not pronounced, a vowel precedes the tav and it will lose its dagesh lene. So I get matzatha. Matzatha. Okay? So that's the matzah verb. Everywhere I would have gotten pathak, silent shava, I get long A and nothing. Okay? Now, the other thing that we focused on in the lesson had to do with asher. Asher is a relative particle that introduces relative clauses in Hebrew. Now, what did we say in the lesson? What did we say that the relative clause does? The relative clauses modify what? What do relative clauses modify? They modify nouns, okay? So relative clauses modify nouns. So they function like adjectives, don't they? So RC for relative clause modifies a noun. The noun that's being modified by a relative clause is called the head, okay? And so in Hebrew, when we have relative clauses, there will be a head that's being modified by the relative clause. There will be an asher, which is the relative particle that introduces the relative clause, and it will usually go right after the head. And then there will be a resumptive, usually a resumptive pronoun. Sometimes the resumptive pronoun isn't there, but the resumptive pronoun is a pronoun that refers back to the head. It'll be the same gender and number as the head. So same as head. And it will be inside the relative clause. And we have a couple of examples of that here in our example, okay? So let's take a look. The first sentence, A, and why don't you repeat after me? We'll read this together. Matzah, ha'isha, ish, asher ein lo, sus. Okay, so let's not worry about the asher clause here. Let's just talk about the first part. This is the main clause. What's matzah ha'isha ish mean? Okay, so you've got the meaning of the verb as an infinitive, right? But we need to look at the form with the comma te here. So what person, gender, number is that? Cal perfect 3FS. So Cal perfect 3FS. So who found? The woman. That's the subject, right? That's the verb. So the woman found ish, a man. Okay, so the woman found a man. And so now what's the asher clause going to do? It's going to tell me something about who? About the man. So the asher clause modifies the head. The man is the head. Okay, what gender and number is the man? Masculine singular. Okay, good. So if I get a relative, a resumptive pronoun inside the relative clause, what will it have to be? It's going to be referring to the man, so it's got to be masculine singular, right? Okay, so the woman found a man, asher, who ein lo sus. There is not a horse to him. There is not a horse to him. Which pronoun is the holam vav on lo? Ah, that's not feminine. 3MS. That's right. Good. So if it's 3ms, what might it be referring to? Yeah, it's referring to the man. Okay, so it's 3ms, and it's referring to the same dude that the word ish refers to, right? So that's a resumptive pronoun. They are what we call co-referential. They refer to the same thing. The ish refers to this guy up here. The lo refers to the same guy up here. There is not to the same man that she found, there is not to him a horse. Now, how am I going to translate this into good English? The woman found a man. No, this is actually a full sentence or a full clause on the inside. I need to use a relative clause. So who does not have a horse? Okay? So who does not have a horse is my relative clause. And it's modifying who? A man. Okay? So the woman found a man who does not have a horse. Literally, it's the woman found a man who he does not have a horse. Okay? There's an overt resumptive pronoun. In English, our relative pronouns function as subjects and objects. But in Hebrew, the asher actually doesn't function as a subject or an object. The resumptive pronoun does. Okay? Sometimes the resumptive pronoun's missing. So what I said in the lesson, and I really want to stress it now, is asher is not a relative pronoun in Hebrew. In Greek, it is. Has, he, ha, in Greek, changed the form based on case, right? Depending on what the function of the relative pronoun is in its relative clause. In Hebrew, asher doesn't change its form. It is not a relative pronoun, it's a relative particle. How will I indicate what the function of the head is inside the relative clause? It's always by virtue of the resumptive pronoun. That's what's going to tell me. So here I have this possessive lamed attached to the him, and that tells me that he is the possessor. Right. Yeah, he calls it a relative pronoun, but it's not a pronoun. In Hebrew, we see pronouns change their form, don't they? They indicate person, gender, number, right? Asher is just invariant. It never changes. Okay, great. So let's look at letter B here. I have matzathi. So who's the subject of that? Yes, that's 1CS, isn't it? So I found Isha, a woman, or a wife. Good. And then I have an asher clause. So usually, when the asher introduces a relative clause, it goes right after the head. So what might be the head here? Isha. Good. So that's probably my head, and that's probably what the asher clause modifies. So I'm going to say something about the woman that I found. I found a woman who has some qualification, right? So what is it about the woman I found? I found a woman who, and then I have yesh la susa. What's yesh mean? There is. La, to her. Notice that's what person, gender, number? 3FS. Why? Because Isha is feminine singular, right? And so they are co-referential. I'm going to give her a dress and some nice hair and an arm or two. All right. Same woman, right? There is to her, that is to the woman in the main clause, there is to her a susa. So I'm going to translate that as I found a woman who has a susa, a mare. That's right. There you go. If we wanted to translate this literally and use the there is, there are, it would be I found a woman who there is to her a mare. Okay? Now that is really horrible English, but it's really awesome Hebrew grammar. Okay? This resumptive pronoun is redundant in English because our relative pronoun already does the work. Okay? But in Hebrew, the asher doesn't tell you anything except that a relative clause is coming. That's all it does. Signals relative clause. All right? So in relative clauses, the head outside the relative clause is part of the main clause, but the head will always have some resumptive role inside the relative clause. And it'll usually be overt. There'll be an overt resumptive pronoun, but sometimes there won't be one. But you'll have to supply it in your understanding of the grammar. And I think there'll be maybe an example or two in our homework where we do that. Okay? So any questions about this? All right. If not, let's look at the Ross homework, okay?